Hi, welcome back to another episode of Figs Talks Fights. I'm your host, Brian Figueredo, and today we're going to get into something a little bit different. I've been normally doing fight reviews and fight previews and bit of breakdowns, but today I'd like to talk about something that is a little bit concerning amongst myself and the MMA community that seems to be going pretty much globally, and that is the manager, coach, trainer, all that stuff to Diego Sanchez, Joshua Fabia, okay? And what I'm going to be reviewing and reflecting on is an interview he did with Luke Thomas on Luke Thomas's Sirius XM Channel 97, okay? The Luke Thomas Show. And this took place a couple of days ago, all right? And it was very concerning. So let's get into it, okay? If you haven't heard this interview yet, by the way, please go to Google or YouTube and check out or search in Luke Thomas, Joshua Fabia, all right? Let's get to it, all right? The interview opens up and Luke Thomas is trying to introduce him and Joshua comes on immediately, corrects the pronunciation of his name and says, I am Diego Sanchez's manager, I'm his coach, I'm his trainer, I'm his physical therapist, I am his nutritionist. Fuck, pretty much everything that you want as a fighter, Joshua is taking all on his own, okay? And now he's starting to get a little bit of grief from it, and him speaking out has only made my concerns even wider. So let's get into it, okay? Now, the first thing that Joshua wants to get into is, like, Luke is asking him, what, like, how did you guys meet up? Did you meet up before Jackson Wink? Why did Diego end up with you? And he goes automatically to say the Jackson Wink camp was not doing their job. Okay, Luke Thomas is trying to say, hey, look, John Jones is coming out there. He's doing well. Saying, look, Diego put that gym on the map, which, look, I'm not going to disagree with, because in 2005, when Diego Sanchez was on the original Ultimate Fighter, which he won, okay, he was coming out of the Jackson Wink camp, all right? You had guys like Keith Jardine and Tim Kennedy in there, but more guys started to see the notoriety coming out of that club. And yes, they were all getting together and training under Jackson Wink. What Joshua was trying to say is that a bunch of guys were coming together to this camp to train with each other, not train under the guidance of Jackson and Mike Winklejohn, Greg Jackson and Mike Winklejohn. So, okay, fine, fair enough. He wasn't getting the attention he wanted, so he goes off to you, okay? So what makes him so credentialed to do this? This is something that Luke Thomas kept asking him, all right? What makes you qualified to be a corner man? Now, before I get into that, let's talk about this for a second, okay? As I said in the pre-fight and post-fight breakdown of the fight night last week that took place in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, all right? Diego Sanchez has only been showing up with one guy in his corner the last few fights, and it's been really concerning. So I did take some notes. I normally like to do these videos off the fly, but since I'm going to be speaking to somebody and criticizing, I just want to make sure I'm getting this all right. So first thing he goes is that most of these guys out there are just practicing, not training, or taking classes. And what he means by that is you'll go to a jiu-jitsu class or a boxing class or a mixed martial arts class, a wrestling class, etc., okay? And more or less, you're just taking lessons and then just rolling with each other, okay? Look, that's fucking training. That's training, all right? That you are learning a new martial art, you are learning new techniques, you are improving on your game, and you're getting a chance to either roll or spar to see how your techniques work in at least as close to a safe and practiced situation. It's been tried, tested, and true in boxing for well over 100 years, okay? And with mixed martial arts, look, the sport is still new. We're all figuring it out. Maybe Joshua Fabia is the man that we're all going to be looking to in 10 years going, holy shit, he changed the game. And if that happens, you better fucking believe I will be here to eat crow and call myself out and say, shit, I didn't see that coming. Sometimes that happens in life. I do not think this is the case scenario. So he's trying to describe that he makes an example of, if I tell you to do 10 push-ups, you're going to get to 10 push-ups, and that's it. He goes, more or less, if I just tell you to just keep doing push-ups, you're going to push yourself further and further and further, okay? Look, I was trying to really understand what he was saying because this entire interview that was about 50 minutes long, Josh just kept talking in riddles. It was almost like math, as if he was trying to mesmerize you with a riddle of words, that he was some sort of guru, okay, which he may or may not be, all right? I don't think so, but, okay, let me tell you something. Every good trainer and coach out there knows that when you push your athlete and your fighter past the brink, you are starting to get diminishing returns, okay? Let me give you an example. If you tell someone, do push-ups to infinity, okay, and they're not allowed to stop, eventually their elbows are going to start flaring, their shoulder joints are going to start hips are going to start dipping, okay? Your technique and your posture is going to start failing, and you're eventually going to train bad habits and injure yourself, all right? As far as being in the gym, once you're getting to that point where you're maxed out and the gas tank is almost ready to be empty, look, it's over. Because at that point, if you want to stay in the gym for 3-4 more hours after that, you're only going to hurt yourself. And plus, you're going to be doing shitty technique because you are to the point of exhaustion, okay? And your body can no longer function to do the movement properly, all right? So that's the first thing, okay? Another thing he was saying is he was talking about in mixed martial arts these days, we are having a hard time with breathing, with the movements and whatnot, okay? Look, this does make sense. Oxygen does need to be pumping through the blood in order to give yourself energy and recover and keep going on. This is basic science, okay? If you took phys ed through high school, you would probably know all this shit if you retain the information, okay? This isn't anything that's self-breaking, or groundbreaking, sorry, but where's the proof that he has any of this? Where is it? He kept referring to his website. Now, let me get that right. His website is schoolofselfawarenessworldwide.com. I did check out the website, and look, Joshua Fabia, okay, he kept going on. He's a small guy. He's only 5'2", 135-pound man, and he can handle himself very well. Look, I wouldn't doubt it. The guy looks to be in tremendous shape, but to me, it looks like he is very aware of mindfulness meditation in a sense. He's very aware of doing, body movements, okay? And what I mean by body movements is mobility work, all right? And pushing himself to the extremes from there, okay? This isn't anything groundbreaking. This isn't anything new, okay? Where I'm from in Southern Ontario, I could point to you to a few gyms where you could collect this information, all right? Moving on, all right? Now, when asked why he's the sole owner of Diego Sanchez, he said, let's ask Diego. Diego got on the phone. Look, he didn't sound all that great. He sounded distraught. He sounded disturbed. He's probably seeing people heckle him on the internet of what's going on with him and Joshua Fabia. Okay, and it's probably getting to him, but he's saying, look, his well-being is nobody's business. All right, what he decides to do is what he decides to do. Sure, that's fine. And he's right. I mean, really, this isn't my fucking business. I shouldn't be talking about it, except that, look, when it's very glaring like this, and Diego Sanchez, with all due respect, has the impeccable heart of a fighter, and he's demonstrated it for the last 15 years. Say what you will about, the DQ that happened in the Michelle Pereira fight that happened last week. I don't give a shit, okay? Give the guy a pass even if you think he quit, which I don't. I think he was rocked, and he made a very conscious decision to not go out and get hurt, okay? He's saying that if he decides to only go out with one guy or nobody, that's his business. You're right. It is your business, but is it in your best interest, okay? So moving on from there, all right? Luke Thomas asked Joshua Fabia, what are your qualifications to be cornering a high-level mixed martial arts fighter, there is an awkward silence and then a very quiet but sneering going, I didn't know there needed to be any qualifications. What? What? What do you mean? He keeps referring to his website. Go look at what I've done. If any of you have done the research in the last year, you would understand what the hell he's doing. Look, I don't think Joshua Fabia is a manipulator and a scam artist or anything like this. And I keep seeing this shit on the internet. Look, that's not what I'm suggesting in any way, shape, or form. It's pretty obvious the guy believes in what he's doing, but he's fucking naive. Absolutely naive. Okay? Now, look, in order to be a high-level mixed martial arts coach and corner, you should have some fucking experience on the amateur level, have worked fighters up, and have something that's tried, tested, and proven on why you should be there. Okay? This guy's giving it a whirlwind. And he kept saying that, coaching Diego is just a small part of what I do. I'm helping people around the world. He was even quoted saying, I've been around the world 9 times and I ain't paid for any of the tickets, man. What the fuck does that mean? That you've talked people into flying you around the world to show your skills? To show them your impeccable balance? To show them your great mobility? To show them your great core strength? Great. I'm glad you got a fucking few dupers in there. Maybe you just lowballed the price compared to everybody else they were looking at that was a little bit more legit. I don't know. Just throwing that out there. But what the fuck is that? Highly concerning. Let's get on to more of this, okay? Now, as far as his cornering goes, Luke Thomas was asking him, look, you're talking about a lot of codes in there. Go after him 100. Stay sticky with him. Look, he does have codes. And I'm not going to try breaking down what the guy is trying to say. If he has legitimate ways of communicating with Diego for Diego to understand and pinpoint it and take that in a fight, no problem. I don't have a problem with that. Sounds like a great idea. Mark Henry does that shit all the time. Mark Henry, okay, out of New Jersey, all right, he's got codes for every single fighter that he corners, specific to that fighter, all right? This isn't a bad idea, but Mark Henry has a proven track record that his shit works. Anyhow, getting to the point, okay? When pressed about it, he was saying, look at what I've been doing for Diego. If you saw that Chiesa fight that Diego had last July with Michael Chiesa, and the fight that Michael Chiesa just had with Rafael dos Anjos just about 3 weeks ago, he's trying to say Diego did better than RDA did against Chiesa. And Chiesa is a motherfucker who trains at the UFC PI, and it's just little old him training Diego, okay? Like he's the little engine that could. First of all, if Michael Chiesa is at the great PI, getting all this great training, and we should give Joshua a little bit of credit for just being the one guy, then maybe it's time for you to admit you are not an elite level fucking coach. Then maybe, Diego should spend some time at the UFC PI. Not saying get the hell out of it. Obviously, you guys have a great relationship and you've done things for Diego that has made him trust you, okay, with managing his money, managing his affairs, managing his training, managing his nutrition. Obviously, you guys got something going on, but just solely to you, this is the whole point of this video. Should not just be one person. This is concerning. So he goes on to say that Diego did better against Michael Chiesa than RDA did. Bullshit. Not at all. Michael Chiesa won against Diego Sanchez 30-27, okay? And Diego Sanchez, I've talked about that fight in some of my previous videos before. Man, he showed heart. He had great fucking scrambles in that. He got at a rear naked choke attempts from Michael Chiesa, okay? Got at a submission attempts, and Michael Chiesa's a finisher. I give props to Diego for surviving that fight, making it entertaining and making it competitive, okay? But he did not do better than RDA, all right? RDA did get out of 2 close rear naked chokes in their first fight, or in the first round of the RDA Michael Chiesa fight, And RDA took the second round from Michael Chiesa. He actually won a round. How the fuck can you say Diego did any better? Bullshit. Okay? Off to the next point. All right? Diego, he was also talking about the highlights prior to this fight that Diego Sanchez, okay, all they were showing was highlights of him at 25, 26, 27 years old going out and fighting and brawling. And he goes, Diego showed up with that style against Michel Pereira, he would have got knocked the fuck out, just like poor Ben Askren did. Sorry about your luck. Now, in this time, he's also talking about people being rude and disrespectful to a legend like Diego Sanchez. Dude, what the fuck are you talking about Ben Askren getting knocked the fuck out for? Huh? Oh, because he shot a takedown. He went for a move, he took a risk, and it didn't pay off. And then that same thing would have happened to Diego if he would have gone for a shot or a takedown. Okay. Anyhow, let's move on, all right? He was also saying, look, we haven't had a chance to really see the skills that I have been teaching Diego, all right? Which some of them, I forgot to mention, when Diego was speaking with Luke Thomas in this, briefly in this part of this interview, he was saying, look, we do unorthodox methods. Sometimes we're even doing, how do I evade a punch by using a knife? What? What the fuck are you talking about? Using a knife to prepare for a mixed martial arts fight? Like, what is it? Is this just higher stakes? Can you not get a sparring partner in there to put it on him enough, to make him nervous enough of danger that you have to use a knife? Look, all the fucking time in training, you zig when you shouldn't have zagged. That's why they train or practice, as Joshua would put it. That's why they practice or fucking train is what it actually is. You make mistakes all the time and you slip the wrong way when the shot's coming, you get hit by it. And you're doing this with a fucking knife? Look, I haven't seen any video or any footage, so I'm only picturing what's in my head from what they're describing to me. And it's like, this is not a good idea at all. Anyhow, getting on to it. He's saying that we really haven't seen what he's taught Diego yet. And that in this fight against Michel Pereira, he was more elusive, like almost like a Mayweather or Conor McGregor. Look, I'm not an expert in mixed martial arts. I'm not an expert. I have been a fan for well over a decade, but a decade and a half I've been watching this fight or this fight freaking game very consistently, okay? And I have been in and out of the gym training for the last 12 years, all right? I've had some low-level amateur unarmed combat competitions before in martial arts, all right? And let me tell you something. From what I can see, fuck no is he even close to as elusive as Floyd Mayweather or even Conor McGregor. And going on to say that Conor McGregor tweeted after this fight saying, what do you think of Conor McGregor versus Diego Sanchez? And the guy is so fucking egotistical, okay? His ego could barely fit in the fucking state of freaking Texas, that he's thinking McGregor is the only guy to recognize what I'm doing because he studied movement training, which he did famously with Edor Portal. And look, it did turn out good. Everyone was laughing at McGregor at the time, going, what the fuck is this guy doing? Turns out Edor Portal did some good things for Conor McGregor. I don't see this happening with Joshua Fabia and Diego Sanchez, okay? McGregor was trolling you. He doesn't want that fucking fight. It's a waste of time. I'm sorry. At this point in Diego's career, he's probably going to get knocked the fuck out. Okay, I don't care how evasive you think he's looking, it's not going to happen. Okay? Moving forward even more, all right? He's going off to talk about the biased commentary and the Joe Rogan bullshit and being a comedian and cracking jokes during the broadcast and, you know, putting his Joe Rogan opinion out there. Look, Joe Rogan isn't perfect, okay? His commentating is not perfect. It has gotten better from when he first started. And look, I think it's plateaued. And in some ways, he's slipping a little bit. All right? But Joe Rogan, yeah, okay, he's a comedian. But he's a color commentator. All right? Color commentators, I don't care what sport you're watching, have a little bit, like, that's why they're called color. They have a bit of fucking humor into it. They're there to entertain. The play-by-play guy is there to tell you, here's the Corn Nuts ad, and now the first round is starting, and now they're coming out, and they're just giving you the basic play-by-play of what's going on. And the color guy there is to, break the fight down as he's seeing the action happening and make it entertaining for the people. Look, Joe Rogan has one of the most famous podcasts, if not the most famous podcast in the world. Okay, the guy gets millions of downloads. He's obviously entertaining to people. The fuck is he supposed to do? Not be himself? Just, I have to take this very seriously now. Yeah, okay. Let the guy make a few wisecracks. And look, some of the shit you've been telling Diego, no shit to it, all right? Now, going back to the cornering part, there's one thing I missed that I really want to touch on. When Luke Thomas asked him, what about the advice you're giving him? He had to state, well, who am I to give advice to Diego? When Diego's in there and the fight's going at 100 miles per hour, how on earth am I supposed to tell him what to do when he's in that moment? Well, as I said before, anything that I've competed, okay, in martial arts, okay, very low level amateur, all right, not aspiring to be a professional fighter, never will be, okay? Don't get me misconstrued, but a corner has helped me out every fucking time. Are you kidding me? There's things when you're live in the moment, you're right, everything's 100 miles per hour coming in front of you. Your corner is sitting there calm, watching shit that you're not seeing coming, and is reminding you, hey, fucking take a deep breath. This is what we drilled. By the way, he said he was against drilling. What? That's where fucking muscle memory comes from. Half the time when you see these guys win by a spectacular finish, it's muscle memory. It's something they've literally drilled 1,000+ times. It's in their toolbox, all right? And when that moment happens live, okay, and it's going 100 miles per hour, poof, they just counter. Whether it's a left hand, a flying knee, whatever the hell it is, okay? Anyhow, going on, who am I to instruct him? You're his corner. Watch what he's not seeing. Tell him what the hell is happening, okay? And going on, he was shitting on, excuse me, pardon me, gross, pardon me. He was going on saying Daniel Cormier's having a laugh about it, all right, during the Pereira fight, and that he needs to work on, trying to find that takedown, trying to get the scrambles happening against Michel Pereira. And then he, says to Luke Thomas going, have you ever tried to wrestle a guy that hasn't won to wrestle? Look, me. Fucking nobody, idiot over here. Yeah, I have. Yeah, it can be fucking done, all right? And you're talking about Daniel Cormier saying, if that was you, Daniel Cormier, you would have got knocked the fuck out. Let me tell you something. Everybody that Daniel Cormier has fought didn't want to wrestle with Daniel Cormier. Maybe John Jones, in their first fight together, wanted to wrestle Daniel Cormier because, like Joshua Fabia here, John Jones does have an ego that you still can't fit inside the state of Texas, all right? He's probably the only guy that said, yeah, I'll wrestle with Daniel Cormier. Everybody else, fuck that. They know it's coming. They want to stop it, but guess what? Daniel Cormier has great trickery, entries, and setups in order to get the takedown, and guess what? All of them get taken down by Daniel Cormier. So who the fuck is he to just go off on these Joe Rogan jokes and having a good old color commentary time, entertaining the people that paid to watch the fights, right? Which ultimately pays Diego Sanchez and pays you and your percentage of it. Yeah, he has a right to speak on it, okay? The guy was a world champion in multiple freaking weight classes, in multiple organizations. He has a point. And he's shitting on Trevor Whitman going, Whitman was saying, look, I'm concerned. This is nothing like how Diego fights. And it's true. As I said in the post-fight, Diego's hands were out like this, just circling away, looking for those explosions. And he's yelling 100. That's when you go to land your 100 strikes. What? Look, Joshua Fabia is either so ahead of the game that I am going to be made look like a fucking fool for even putting myself out here saying this shit. I don't think so. I don't. Look, if you got people that are coming to you, all right, and you've been around the world 9 times, man, and you ain't paid for any of the tickets, keep fucking doing that. But the sport of mixed martial arts, I mean, you're saying, how is anybody concerned for Diego's well-being? I don't see anybody offering to help Diego. Look, sounds like you found Diego, or Diego found you in a point of his life where shit was turning. He was going through a divorce. Look, I don't even want to imagine that shit. I know people that have gone through that shit. It changes the trajectory of your life. It breaks families apart. You become vulnerable, all right? Maybe you've given him some comfort in that regard, okay? Maybe you're a great friend to him, but a manager, coach, trainer, physical therapist, nutritionist, one corner man, this is a recipe for fucking disaster. Now, he goes on even more about his training methods and that it's more natural, this, and that. And he even makes an example of the pyramids, how the pyramids were built by slaves who didn't have protein powders, nutritionists, and they weren't training to do it, but they got the job done. Look, I am no expert in the pyramids. I'm just one of these curious idiots that has been always fascinated with Egypt and the pyramids and all these old structures that we still can't explain. Hear the key point I said? Still can't explain. I don't know how many documentaries I've watched and all these experts who've dedicated their entire lives into figuring out how the pyramids are built still don't fucking know how the pyramids were built. They have a bunch of theories, and then everybody else who's an expert in said pyramid theory building, okay, is disagreeing with one another. So how the fuck are you going to sit here and say, hey, this is how the slaves built the pyramids by doing... What is wrong with this guy? All right? I don't know what to tell you. I'm highly concerned, all right? Now, the last thing I'm going to say is he is dogging on the UFC, saying, can Diego Sanchez just get a fair matchup? Right? Now, Luke Thomas brings up a great point. He goes, well, if you didn't like the Michelle Pereira matchup and you didn't like the Michael Chiesa matchup, and you think these guys are just way too big, why don't you put him in the lightweight division? Joshua Fabia says, look, that's going to be too hard of a weight cut. It's tough on his body. He's 38 years old. Fine, sure. Okay, fine. No problem. Okay? But you're his manager. And it's the manager's job to give him a matchup that is advised or ill-advised. One or the other. This is a good matchup for us. I think we should take this fight. This is not a good matchup for it. Okay? We shouldn't take this fight. And he's going on saying the UFC puts us under pressure. He's in between contracts to take this fight. And they're saying they're not going to give him a new contract and up it unless he takes it. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. That's fine. Do you know who takes care of that shit? High-level managers. There are a shit ton of managers that get into it with Dana White, that make Dana White's face go fucking blood red, probably screaming, dropping every F-bomb, this, and that, and they work it out and they find a common ground because they are professional managers. You are not. You are not a professional manager to be managing a gentleman who's 38 years old, in the twilight of his career, who's literally given everything to this fucking sport. All right? Season 1 of The Ultimate Fighter. A reality show. I remember when that shit came out. A reality show? I'm not watching this shit. Holy fuck, I got hooked after I watched it. It's incredible. The heart that these guys shown, and especially Diego. You really got to see Diego is an oddball. No doubt about it. But that's why he's loved and respected. I mean, there's one thing you can't take away from Diego, okay? He has heart. He wants to fight. He will not quit. Look, shit seems to be going downhill fast, all right? Is it a coincidence that it's happening under Joshua Fabia and he's getting these bad matchups? I don't know. But from a spectator, all I have to say, highly concerned, okay? I've spent the last 13 years of my life working around high-level salespeople, all right? People that can sell fucking snow to the Eskimos because the snow that they have to offer is better than the snow the Eskimos already have, okay? And then I've also worked around a lot of snaky salespeople. Okay? And they are successful for a short period of time, and then they disappear. I don't know how many of them I've seen just, they're the hottest thing coming around, and then poof, right off the map. Happens all the time. The way their behavior is, and the way they speak, the way they react, I'm seeing the same shit coming out of Joshua Fabia out of this interview with Luke Thomas. And this is only 50 minutes that I have to try to draw a conclusion of him, all right? And I'm sure he's been getting all kinds of hate on the internet, okay? Look, the internet is a cruel place, all right? Don't read the comments. You kidding? Don't do that. It's terrible for you. But it seemed like he was very reactive with Luke Thomas, which is another concern because he's also a mental coach. Look, anybody who's going to react the way Joshua Fabia did to Luke Thomas and get as defensive as he did and run around the circles to the question, not answer it, and spew a bunch of rhetoric, that's not somebody who is 100% mentally stable. I'm calling bullshit on that one, all right? Maybe his fitness is top-notch, okay? His mobility is top-notch. His knife evasion might be top-notch. He's worked with police forces. Shit, some of the gyms that I've been to, they work with the police force too. But anyhow, right? They're also not fucking bringing in one guy to just corner somebody on a low-level amateur martial arts freaking show. Okay? Anyhow, look, I think I've covered all the points I wanted to cover about this. All right? If you haven't heard this interview, go check it out. I won't lie. It is a little disturbing. And if you think Joshua Fabia is the greatest thing since sliced bread, look. You're either a fucking fool or a genius. You're nothing in between. Okay? Because if you can see this guy as the complete future and everybody else is just blindfolded and can't, well, seriously, go pick 6 numbers, 7 numbers, or 8 numbers, whatever the fuck your local lottery is, because you are seeing things that nobody can. All right? Otherwise, you're a fool. Joshua Fabia, is he a bad person? I don't know him. Probably not. Sounds like he's trying his best to take care of Diego under the capabilities that he can. All right? Is he a bad trainer or mentor? Look, I don't agree with his philosophies, and I don't think he has any qualifications or any attributes towards mixed martial arts. All right? When I teach him a strike, oh, jeez. Anyhow, look, I'm going to end up repeating the whole interview. This is really all I wanted to say about this, so anyhow, go check it out. Check out Luke Thomas's interview with Mr. Joshua Fabia. All right. And hopefully this shit sorts out. And, you know, this is what Diego wants to continue to do. It's what he wants to continue to do. But, right, I just hope there's no fighters out there that are just desperate and fall into this bullshit either. So if you liked what you heard today or like any of my other videos, please subscribe to the channel. I'll keep putting shit out. All right. Appreciate you very much. And watch out for the Joshua Fabias of the world, all right? Stick to the ones you love and take care of you.